This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 47, and verse 1. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne." So we understand that Babylon in particular, or daughter of Babylon, that's important in that first verse, because a lot of people would try to say that, oh, it's talking about ancient Babylon, but clearly it's talking about the daughter of Babylon, virgin daughter Babylon. So this is a second Babylon. This is not the Babylon in Iraq of thousands of years ago. The Lord is talking about a new Babylon. When the Most High revealed these things to his prophets, he had to put it out in a way that they could understand for the time that they were living in. So a lot of times descriptions would be given more so than names of things. He would describe things. So like in Zechariah, let's get it. Zechariah chapter 14, it talks about the plague that he would bring on the earth. And it's clear when you read it that he's describing a nuclear missile, right? But of course, back then, nukes didn't exist. So you couldn't say a nuclear missile. It wouldn't make no sense to the people that were writing it down and to the people that were reading it. It would make absolutely no sense. So this is Zechariah. Let's give you a quick example of how that worked. Zechariah chapter 14. 14 and Zechariah 14. And we'll start at 12. It says, "And this shall be the plague." And plague just means disaster or calamity. When you look it up in the Hebrew, it just means disaster or calamity. So it says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem." So all the people that oppressed, took Israel captive, the people that he's going to eventually rescue us from, is saying this is the plague that he will smite them with. "Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." So there's a iconic scene in Terminator 2 where you see Sarah Connor. She's having a vision of the future, and you see her at the playground, and she grabs onto the fence, and you see all her flesh being burnt away. So whenever a body is exposed to that kind of heat, the first thing that goes is the moisture. So your eyes have water, your tongue, water. It's moisture in your tongue, moisture in your eyes. So the Lord is saying these are the things that are going to be consumed. It's going to burn up. That's the first things that's going to go. Before your flesh, before everything else, it's going to be your eyes, because the water is just going to evaporate from all the heat. So it's saying that this thing here, this plague that the Lord is going to plague these people with, it says their flesh shall consume away while they stand up on their feet. And that's also in that scene. When you look at that scene, you see all her skin just burnt off. "And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." So there's only one thing that can do that, and that's extreme heat and extreme fire. So when you read the other scriptures and you pair them with this, you understand that these are missiles. These are nuclear missiles. I forgot my laptop. I did want to bring out, this missile that Russia's building. It's called the Satan II. But we'll get to that. Back to Isaiah 47. It says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne." So virgin daughter, because when you look back in history, you see there's never really been an attack on American soil. Not to the degree that America has actually invaded other countries. There's been like maybe 5, but they were all like bullshit, like small attacks. Like in World War II, Japan flew over some hot air balloons that I think they dropped some bombs or something like that. And half of them didn't even make it because they shot them down. So nothing effective. So the Lord compares them to a virgin daughter, someone that's never been touched. All right, verse 2. "Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thighs, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen." So basically all their secrets and everything is going to be uncovered. And they're going to be touched. They're saying uncover and make bare the leg. They're going to be touched. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Like I was saying in the last video, it's important that when the Lord does come back this time, he makes the entrance that he's going to make. Because there's going to be no doubt in our minds as Israelites that this is our king, number one. And number two, it's going to put the fear of the Most High in the people of the world. But they're going to fight anyway. When you read, let's get it, Second Esdras chapter 13. Because they're going to fight anyway. They're not going to win, and it's going to be a pretty quick fight, but they're going to try to fight anyway. This is 2 Esdras chapter 13. Let's go to let's start at 5. It says, "And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the 4 winds of heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea." So this is it's talking about the return of Yahushua. And when he comes to subdue the earth. Well, they're saying they're going to try to subdue that man that came out of the sea. The sea being the upper firmament or the sky. "But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid." You got to think. He's entering the atmosphere. You got this giant, whatever he's coming down on. You can't see the edges of it. Esdras is seeing a vision now, and he's saying that this thing is so big, this chariot that he's coming in on is so big that you can't see the edges of it. Like, it's huge. So it's coming down, it's entering the atmosphere. Everything is people are gonna go nuts. They're gonna be going crazy in the streets, right? So it's all the movies, all the things that you've heard, your whole reality is now changed. Everything that you thought was real, you're gonna question now. Not us per se, because we're in the scriptures, so we've read about this in the past, so we understand what's going on. But for the people, you got to think about the atheists, the Pan-Africans, the Cometians, the agnostics, the Hindus, everybody that's not in the Torah, that doesn't read this Bible. Like, their whole reality is gonna be shaken up. Like, you literally gonna have a man coming out of the sky, right? It's something that you've only read about in fairy tales. And it's gonna be clear and apparent that he ain't coming to play. Like, he ain't gonna enter the atmosphere and try to set up a meeting with the president. Like, he's coming in and it's gonna be things on fire and war going on and things like that. Verse 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. So they're going to be terrified. But in all their pride and really having no option at that point, because it's get down or lay down. So you got to think they're not going to give up their kingdom. And you got to be real, all these movies is training them to fight against an invasion. Like, we've been watching invasion movies since little kids, and it's never a good thing. It's never we make peace with the aliens. It's always fight. So these people are going to enter into this conflict with that mindset. Oh, we're going to defeat these aliens or these strangers that are coming to take over our planet. Not really understanding, like, this is the creator. This is the creator of everything. So it ain't gonna go well for them, but they're gonna have to learn the hard way. So, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. So I just wanted to get that point in there, that they're going to try to fight against the Most High, or the Son of the Most High. They're going to try to fight against Yahushua. Even though they're going to be afraid, they're still going to try to do it, right? So let's go back to Isaiah 47. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So even though they see this God coming out of the sky, they still going to try to subdue him and fight against him. Verse 4. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. Again, people are going to try to say these are the Chaldeans. Oh, well, first of all, the Chaldeans would be like the ruling class of people in Babylon back then. So again, the Lord is drawing a comparison between those people and who he's calling the daughter of, or the he's describing it in the best way he can to the people back then, right? So you have Babylon, What was Babylon known for? It was known for its idolatry. It was known for the gathering of the people, the mixing of the people together. And so it's comparing that to the current Babylon, the daughter of Babylon. So you draw the conclusion, you understand what country gathers all the people together and things of that nature. And I get that, and we'll get that in Daniel. Let's see if Daniel 2 or Daniel 4. We'll get that real quick. Bear with me. I do not have a reader. Because like I said, the Most High gives descriptions versus giving names, because how could he say America? Who would understand that? How could he say missile? Who would understand that? It wouldn't make no sense. So this is the book of Daniel, chapter 2, and verse 40. So this is the dream that King Nebuchadnezzar had, the king of Babylon back then. This is the dream that he had of pretty much all the kingdoms that would rise, fall, up until Yahweh Shai and the Most High established their kingdom on the earth, and the Israelites were allowed to rule. So this was the interpretation that Daniel gave King Nebuchadnezzar at the time. This is verse 40. It says, "And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all pieces shall it break in pieces and bruise." So this is talking about the fourth kingdom, which would be today's kingdom. And listen to how they describe it. All right? Listen to how they describe it. "The fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all things shall it break in pieces and bruise." When you look at the United States military, there's no other, this is the strongest country or nation in the world, right? Arguably, not even arguably, this is the strongest nation that's ever existed. Clearly. You can't, I was thinking about comparing it to the nations of the past, but the nations of the past didn't have nuclear weapons, so it don't make no sense, right? So this is the strongest nation that ever existed. So it's comparing it to a nation that's going to subdue all other nations, which they have, which is apparent. This prophecy is manifested already. There's bases in every country, every continent in the world. America got bases all over the planet, right? So it's comparing it to being a kingdom that's strong as iron and subduing all things as iron that breaketh all pieces shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas, verse 41, "And whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron." So You look at America as a nation, we aren't one group of people. Just like Babylon. Babylon means confusion. Just like ancient Babylon. It's the same thing. Well, this is all just being recycled. So just like back then, all different nations come together, but they're not all the same people. They don't all have the same agenda. They don't have all the same ideologies, right? So it's saying, and whereas thou sawest the feet and the toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided. So even though we're all living here, we are certainly not together. Chinatown, Little Haiti, the Somalians, they got their own section. Little Italy. That's at every city. Every city you go to has a Chinatown or a Little Italy. So even though we all reside in this country, we are divided, as the Bible says. But there shall be in it the strength of iron. So even though we are together and divided in this country, we still have the United States military. So it still has the strength of iron. Even though we're together and divided, we still has the strength of iron, right? And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And we're watching that manifest today, in that, yes, we have this military, but this shit is falling apart. Republicans, Democrats, black, white, gay, straight, man, woman, everything is starting to crumble. Everything is falling apart. But we still got the strongest military in the world, right? So, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave to one another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. So again, it's reiterating, like I said before, the people, the seed of men, are mixed and mingled here, but they're not together. They don't cleave one to another, right? And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. So the final kingdom is going to come. The final kingdom being the kingdom of Yahushua, the kingdom of the Lord, is going to come while this particular kingdom that is described in here is in power, right? And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So that's when you read about in Revelation the many crowns that Yahushua had on his head, because he's going to subdue all the other kingdoms on the planet, all the other nations. It's going to be one king, one ruler. So, and it's not that far-fetched when you think about it. Just as Esau rules the world in all his wickedness, just as he runs pretty much the entire planet through force or through, economic sanctions and pressure and things like that. It's the same thing. Only now it's going to be done in righteousness. Yahweh Shai is going to be that one power to rule over the world. All right? So we're going to go back to want to show something here that I was reading the other day. It's in the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk is one of them little books. It's in between books you gotta find. Just give me 1 second. All right, Habakkuk, chapter 2. And again, it's giving the description of this nation that Yahweh Shai is coming back to visit. He comes back because in destroying this nation is where he gets his glory, is where he gets his people back, the Israelites that were going into captivity. We'll get that though. We're going to go there. But let's get this first. Listen to the description again. So when you read Habakkuk, when you go back and you read Habakkuk now, you understand who it's talking about. You understand that this is the judgment on Babylon. The Bible tells the same story from different vantage points. It's the same story though. From front to back, it's the same story, but it's visions given to different prophets. So it sounds a little different, but it's the same story, right? So this is it according to Habakkuk. We just read a little bit of how it is according to Daniel, according to Isaiah. This is it according to Habakkuk, right? It's going to describe the people, how they are, what they do. And it's on us to understand. These are the mysteries of the Bible. It's on us to draw these parallels and to really understand what's going on. The Lord has given us puzzle pieces in the form of the words of the prophets. And it's on us to put it together, to understand it, to decipher it, and to understand prophecy and what's next. And if you're a teacher in this thing, it's your job to study and to give this to the people, give them this understanding. All right? So this is Habakkuk chapter 2. We'll start at verse 4. It says, "Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith." There's a scripture. The wicked are estranged from the womb. It's in Psalms. But this is what it's talking about here. But behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. The book of Malachi, when it talks about the border of wickedness, it calls Esau the border of wickedness, right? So this is the people that he's talking about here. And we'll get it when we read down, it'll become more apparent. "Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home." So wine in the scriptures, it represents their philosophy. So it's saying that he transgresseth through his wine, through his philosophies that he exports in abundance between democracy and homosexuality. These are the things, and just the lewdness and the there's all the things that he exports, all his ideologies and philosophies. This is why countries say they don't want them there. They don't want them there. Go home. Go home. All these countries that invade, they don't want they don't want it to pollute their society because they see morally just how it affects the people. So you see countries in the Middle East that reject this idea of their democracy, of this women's liberation, which is ultimately destroying a lot of things, destroying America. So they don't want this stuff, right? So it says he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Neither keepeth at home. Like I said, this man got bases set up everywhere on the planet, right? How you go from Europe to enslave people in South America and in Africa, just all over the world, just oppression all over the world. So the Most High is describing them to a T. It's saying, neither keepeth at home. It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. So just like the ground ain't never full of dead people, the ground ain't never going to say, that's enough, I can't take no more, right? Death ain't never going to stop taking people. Death is going to continue to take people, right? Death is never satisfied. Death is never full of people dying. There's never a point in time when it's like, oh, that's enough. It don't work like that. So the Most High is comparing these people's desire, right? Their ambition to conquer and to hoard and to oppress and to steal and rob nations of their riches and of their resources. The Most High is comparing that to death, never satisfied, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. This is what we read in Daniel chapter 2. Listen up, right? It says, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. This is what we read in Daniel 2 of the last nation before Yahushua comes back, before the Lord comes back. This is what we read about Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon, and then the Babylon before that. What's his name? That's crazy. I'll forget his name. The king that the constellation was named after. God. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. That's so crazy. In Genesis, the king in Genesis that built the Tower of Babel. I can't remember. Nimrod. So this is also what Nimrod did, right? He built one of the first empires, and he gathered all these people. So the Lord ain't going to say America. Don't look for America in the Bible. He's going to call it Babylon, just as the Babylons before. He called them Babylon, right? So it says, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Daniel chapter 2. Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. When you read that in the Hebrew, the clay, it represents debt. So America's a born ass nation. Like, they're in debt, a lot of debt. But the point there was the Habakkuk. I wanted to show the The same story told by different vantage points. That was it. So in Habakkuk, when you read Habakkuk now, you understand that it's talking about the same kingdom that Daniel was talking about. It's talking about the same kingdom that Isaiah was talking about. This final kingdom. Right? Same kingdom in Revelation. Same thing, same thing. So we're back in Isaiah 47. Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. So again, the Chaldeans were they would be the ruling people of Babylon back then. So we'll do it like this. In America, yes, there are many nations. The Chaldeans would be the people that established America. The Europeans, the white man that established America. That would be the Chaldeans, the modern day Chaldeans of today, right? Practicing the same thing, the same witchcraft, the same idolatry and things of that nature, right? It says, verse 6, it says, sit thou, O silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, verse 5. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. So the Most High is planning not only to destroy, but to embarrass this place. Like he's going to put it to shame. And in doing so, like I said, we're going to understand this is the King of Kings. Romans chapter 9, when he said, even for this reason have I raised thee up, so that I may show my power in thee. Verse 6. Isaiah 47, verse 6, it says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. So it says he was upset with his people being the Israelites. So draw the parallels here. In this nation that the Most High is going to destroy, that has mingled the seed of men, that has the power of iron in it, but the people aren't joined to each other. In this nation, he said he gave his inheritance over to them. He said that he was upset with them, and he sent them there. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy upon the ancient, as thou very heavily laid thy yoke. So we understand in our 400 plus years that we've been here, when the Most High said, thou showest them no mercy. The people that have ruled over and oppressed us has showed us no mercy. So he said he set that up for that to happen. When you read Deuteronomy 28, it talks about our old, our young, all being oppressed by this man. Right? Those are the curses that will befall us. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever. Verse 7, thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. So they're just talking tough, basically. We ain't never been touched, we ain't never gonna be touched, right? And you see that in the pride of this man. Like, it don't get more prideful. That's what we're saying in Habakkuk, chapter 2, when it says in verse 5, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He is a proud man, right? Pride cometh before the fall. So this is the virgin daughter Babylon, Esau, Edom, the Chaldeans, the daughter of the Chaldeans, talking big shit, pretty much, right? So that didst not lay these things to heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. It says, therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, thou that dwellest carelessly, that sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know loss of children. So again, just talking tough. This is Esau talking tough. Verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. So, two things there. When this country was established, when you go back and you read about just all the witchcraft, the masonry, the idolatry, the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollars, the obelisk in the middle of the Capitol, like all these things is what the Lord is talking about. The enchantments, the sorceries and the enchantments of this nation. There's a lot of things that we don't see that's going on behind the scenes when it comes to rulership in this country that we'll never be privy to, right? But the Lord sees everything, and he sees what's going on. I'm trying to remember the scriptures. The Lord's eyes are, I forget it, but the Lord sees everything, right? So it says, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. Let's get that in Revelation, because it's going to happen like that, right? When it say in 2 Thessalonians, when it say, and they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh. All right? So it's going to come out of nowhere. Revelation chapter 18. We'll start at verse. We'll start at verse 7. Right? So again, and this is going to show you, like I said, same prophecy, same story, different vantage points. Right? So this is 18 of verse 7. So the prophets are saying the same thing. We're just getting it from different sides. So it's on us to put together this puzzle. Verse 7, it says, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. Right? What does that sound like? Exactly what we were reading in Isaiah 47. It says, how much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously. So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. So this is exactly what we just read in Isaiah 47. Verse 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly be burned with fire. This is what we read in Zechariah. This is what we read in Isaiah. This is what you read in Habakkuk. She shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord God who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. How do you see the smoke of a nation's burning? standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Isaiah 47:9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in 1 day, the loss of children and widowhood. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 10, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. Right. Verse 10, 47:10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Okay, hold on. All right, let me get that. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter. No. We're going to do it slow. All right. Let's go to Isaiah 9 first. Like I said, again, if the Most High said nuclear missile to Isaiah back then, guess what? It wouldn't make no damn sense, right? So we read in Isaiah chapter 9, and we'll start at 2 so we get the understanding. It says, the people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, America, Babylon, upon them hath the light shined. Thou hast multiplied the nation and not increased the joy. So we're growing as a people, as Israel, but our joy hasn't increased. It says, they joy before thee according to the joy in harvest, and as men rejoice when they divide the spoil. Thou hast multiplied the nation and not increased the joy. They joy before thee. For verse 4, for thou hast broken the yoke of his burden and the staff of his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, as in the day of Midian. So it's comparing to back in the day when the Lord freed us from our oppression. Right? Verse 5, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So this war that's coming, that's going to free the Israelites in Babylon, the Great in America, and daughter Babylon in America, is going to be with fuel of fire, with burning and fuel of fire. It's compared to the wars of the past. It says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And then it describes who's coming to save us and things of that nature. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. So this redemption is not going to be like the wars of the past. This redemption, this freeing of us, this is going to be with burning and fuel of fire. Right? So let's go to Isaiah. We're still in 47. We're going to go back to 47, but I just wanted to get a couple scriptures as far as this hour and what is going to be used to destroy an entire nation in 1 hour. So this is Isaiah chapter 54. And let's get verse 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. So the whole nuclear program and its creation is leading up to its prophecy. And the Most High saying that he created the smith that bloweth the coals. Back in the day, it was the smith that used to make weapons. They would work with iron and things like that. So that's who you would go to for your swords, your daggers, your armor, and things like that. So he's saying that I created the smith that bloweth the coals to create this weapon. He calls it the waster to destroy. Right? And then he goes into verse 17. He says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. So he's creating this, but for that remnant, the people that are saved, this weapon is not going to prosper against them. Isaiah, let's get I'm going to go to Isaiah. We're going to go to Jeremiah quick, and then we'll come back to Isaiah. This is Jeremiah. Test. Hopefully I can still hear me. I'm going to talk up a little louder just in case these earpieces ain't picking up no audio. Jeremiah chapter 50. Again, bear with me. Jeremiah 50. This is a good chapter, by the way. The whole Jeremiah 50 and 51, it describes Babylon and the destruction of it. But there's one verse in particular that talks about the Lord and these weapons. Man, really the whole chapter. Like this one, I like 258. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the broad walls of Babylon shall be utterly broken, and her high gates shall be burned with fire. And the people shall labor in vain, and the folk in fire, and they shall be weary. Verse 54, a sound of a cry cometh from Babylon, and great destruction from the land of Chaldeans. But there was a particular scripture I was looking for, man. I'll start writing these down. Oh, apologies. less than 50. I gotta find it now. All right, whatever, man. But it was about the Lord. It says something like opening up his arsenal or something like that. But all right, I ain't gonna waste too much time on that. It's cool. We'll go back to Isaiah. See, now it's gonna bother me, man. Now it's gonna bother me. All right, I'm gonna get it though. It's gonna come to me. It'll come to me. All right. This is verse. Jesus threw me off. Verse 10. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I'm sorry. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. Therefore evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. When you read about and this is just my theory. When it talks about an Obadiah, when it talks about how the men of thy confederacy shall push thee even unto thy borders. When it talks about when they shall say peace and safety. So apparently this is going to be like a surprise attack, and they're not going to see where it's coming from, according to the scriptures. So I'm looking at missile defense systems in places like the EU and in Europe. All these people really have to do is shut them radars off. Shut them radars off. And whatever's coming from, like it says in Jeremiah, this alliance from the north, whatever's coming from, say, Russia or any other country on that side of the world, if America's allies, like it says, were to turn against them in any way and just shut them radars off, we can't see nothing coming. We won't see it coming. We will not see it coming. Right? You got 30 minutes. A missile from Russia to the U.S. 30 minutes. And that time is cut pretty much in half if we can't see it coming from Europe. We won't see it until it hit maybe Alaska, till our radars pick it up in Alaska. And that's if it's coming from over the North Pole. But really, I don't know no other route. They're saying with this new missile, though, this Satan II, which I want to get into. I have my laptop here. I wanted to read from it. But basically, the article that I was reading, it says it takes 10 Satan II, that Satan II missiles, this new missile that Russia has, right? Just for a second. It's this new missile that Russia has. It weighs a few tons. It has multiple warheads on it. I believe it's 2 to 3 warheads, nuclear warheads on it. They have, I want to say, between 18 and 30 of them. It takes 10 to kill, to destroy everything in the United States of America. It takes 10 of them. They have like 18 of them. These things, they have they have what do you call it? They can't be shot down. The maneuvering of the missile, the flight, the way it flies so low or something like that, like it can't be picked up. But it has all kinds of like deterrents for it to be. It can't be shot down. And another thing with that is we're counting on our anti-missile defense systems to shoot things down. We've never seen it work. We've never shot down nuclear missiles. There's never been nuclear missiles shot at the United States and we shot it down. So we're counting on them working, right? Which is fine. If it only take 10, Russia launches like 18. And like the scriptures say, it says an alliance from the north will come against Babylon. We'll get that later. I've been going on for like an hour, so I don't want to go on for too long. But me personally, I'm not a big fan of very long lessons. It give you enough to absorb. So it says an alliance from the north. An alliance from the north. Meaning it's not just one nation firing. A barrage of missiles, let's say, first of all, between America and Russia, they have enough missiles to destroy the world like 50, 60 times. For some strange reason. I don't know why you would make so many of them, but they said it takes 10 of them to destroy every living thing, every living soul in America from Russia. This thing, it weighs a few kilotons. Like I said, anything falling from space that weighs a kiloton, it's gonna cause some damage, period. It's gonna hurt something. So this is what the Lord prophesied of things to come. He said he created this smith. He created this weapon for this purpose, for his return, to destroy the earth. And it's just, the irony in it is he's going to let us destroy, or let them destroy themselves, right? And all the wickedness and their evil, he's just going to allow them to do it until they kill themselves, right? And then he's going to come in and clean up the mess. Get his people cleanup crew, right? In the military, they have this thing where they'll launch like these big strikes before they actually put feet on the ground, put boots on the ground. They'll launch missile strikes, right? To clean it up, clear out all the bullshit. And then they come in and then they occupy. They occupy with actual foot soldiers and things of that nature. So basically the Most High is going to watch them kill each other off and then come in and clean up. So what about us? That's the question. What about the remnant that he said he would spare? We'll get that in Isaiah, because we have instructions. We have instructions. This is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20. It says, "Come, my people, enter into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." Verse 21, "For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain." So it's saying, for us, our instruction, just like the Passover in Egypt, right? You smear that blood on your doorposts, and the Lord is going to identify his people in this day, those that are keeping the laws, those that he said they shall bethink themselves. In 1 Kings chapter 8, and in Deuteronomy chapter 30, and it says to remember them, those that come back to the laws, the statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. That's how we're going to be identified as these people that the Lord is going to pass over. This is Deuteronomy 30, verse 1. "And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day." So those that turn back and shall obey his voice, "thou and thy children with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, that then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity." Turn thy captivity means to turn around or to reverse our captivity, "and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee." Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation overpass." So in this day, we're going to be covered. We're going to be good. Those that return to the Lord, he's going to have mercy. He's going to show mercy to us. Those that do what he says. "If ye love me, keep my commandments." And we got to trust and have faith that he won't forsake us. He won't leave us to the destruction of the heathen and to the unbeliever and those that sin against him. All right? Two more scriptures and I'm done. Ezekiel chapter Ezekiel chapter 20, 25. Ezekiel 20. Again, no reader, please bear with me. Ezekiel 20. Ezekiel 20 and verse 33. We'll start at 33. As I live, said the Lord, God, surely with a mighty hand and with stretched out arm and with fury poured out will I rule over you. Verse 34. And I will bring you out from the people, and I will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered, with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. How does the Lord plead? Let's get that real quick. Isaiah chapter 66. Because the Lord don't beg for nothing. When they say plead, trust me, it don't mean plead. This is Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 16. It says, for by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So he's saying that he's going to bring us out of the land and bring us into the wilderness, and there he will plead with us face to face. And it explains what he means by that. He says, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. That's the covenant in Jeremiah 31:31. Get that real quick. It's also in Hebrews chapter 8 and 8, I believe. But this is the covenant that he's going to bring us into. And he brings us out into that wilderness. 31, Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse 31. It says, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in that day that I took them out, that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. And will be their God, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord. For they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest of them, the Lord. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I remember their sin no more. So we're going to have the law in our hearts. We're never going to go off. So we're never going to go back into captivity. We went into captivity because we went off. There's a scripture, I want to say Ezekiel 39. It says, everybody's going to know that we went into captivity because we sinned against God. So this is the covenant that he said he's going to bring us into in the wilderness. It says that we will pass under the rod, and he will bring us into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter the land of Israel. That right there, every time I read that, it make me think about Moses and what he had to deal with these people in the wilderness. Like, even after all of this, Yahushua brings us out of this place. The fire, the brimstone, the damnation. We see all this. He's flying in. There's chariots swooping people up and all that. Everybody's dead. Israel. There's still going to be rebels amongst Israel. There's still going to be people going off, not doing what they're supposed to do. Still. And I imagine it. I just imagine how people just partying, dancing, and singing, and just going off. Just doing shit they ain't supposed to be doing. I could just imagine it. But here nor there. Thus says the Lord, thus says the Holy Bible. I'm gonna finish off with this. I'm gonna let y'all go. This is a long one for me. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, and verse 13. Because in order for the Lord and for the Most High to do what they said they would do, we have to do what we're supposed to do. And in doing that, we're good. We made an agreement. We made an agreement a long time ago. We went off and we broke that agreement, yes, but we did make an agreement and we got to stick to that, all right? Most High is a man of his word. Yahushua is a man of his word. We have to be men and women of our word, right? This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. It don't really get clearer than that. Hopefully this was edifying. Hopefully y'all understand. Our job as children of the Most High is to do what our Father told us to do at the end of the day, right? And he will bestow the blessings in which he promised to our forefathers unto their descendants, like he said he would. All right? So, with that, I say peace to all the Akim and shalom.